The real action begins when the first half of the 52nd Super Bowl ends. That's because it will be time for the biggest televised musical performance year in and year out, without fail, as Justin Timberlake takes the stage Sunday in Minneapolis. It's certainly not out of the question that Timberlake will deliver the greatest Super Bowl halftime spectacular ever, just like it's not out of the question that the Eagles, who have never won a Super Bowl, will upset the five-time champion Patriots. But, man, does dude have his work cut out for him, especially after Lady Gaga's high-flying act last year in Houston. The Super Bowl, as JT well knows, is only the biggest show of your life, period. You will never be seen by more human beings at once, all of them tuning in live from around the globe to watch your every move and listen to your every note. It's the ultimate one-off gig, and it's kill or be killed out there.Really. Nobody knows better than JT what's at stake on Super Bowl Sunday when the house lights go dark, given he's already booked this gig twice before. The second time, it didn't end so well after he tore off a piece of Janet Jackson's bustier that exposed her right nipple to some 144. 4 million viewers for 9/16 of a second.Blink, and you missed it. Yt Janet's career never fully recovered. She was yanked from radio and MTV, while JT appeared to be banned for life from ever performing at another Super Bowl. That is, until Roger Goodell pulled the secret Timberlake file out from the bottom drawer of his desk, next to those Spygate tapes he reportedly had destroyed, and took JT off double-secret probation. Or so we imagine.You. You can bet that Justin will be sticking precisely to the script after pinkie-swearing with Goodell, and that the NFL has been apprised of every single detail in the show. It's just one of those things where you go like, yeah, it happened, Timberlake recently told Zane Lowe when asked about that infamous show. What do you want me to say? Like, we're never going to do that again. Still, landing this thing takes some serious skill. For every Prince, Beyonce, or Bruno Mars, there's Phil Collins singing Disney soundtrack songs in cargo pants, or that wretched Blues Brothers bash in the Superdome. Or, even worse, Coldplay.Certainly. JT's been taking notes.With that in mind. Here are the totally subjective, undisputed, entirely debatable rankings of every Super Bowl halftime show ever. Trust us.We watched all of them, or tried to, so that you don't have to. We may be divided as Americans, but if there's one thing on which we can mostly agree, it's this: Coldplay sucks. The British band works great as a punchline, and the 40-year-old virgin.But is the headliner for the biggest Super Bowl of all time. Terrible idea. Wherever you are, whoever you are, we're in this together, Chris Martin says into the mic, while being surrounded by a bunch of smiling kids from a United Colors of Bennetton ad, as if this Super Bowl performance hangs on your mom's 7-layer dip. Sorry, Captain Goop, but count me out. Yes, there have been worse acts for this gig, but there has never been a lamer one. Even lamer, Coldplay playing highlights of previous Super Bowl halftime extravaganzas, only to further drill home the point how much this show stunk. The only thing that made these 13 minutes redeemable was Bruno Mars and Queen Bey, who both crushed in previous halftime headlining gigs, coming to the rescue. Yep, Uptown Funk gonna give it to you. And Queen Bey's got more than just hot sauce in her bag. She also has a custom-made outfit paying homage to the king of pop himself. Beyonce's performance of Formation, an unapologetic Black Lives Matter anthem, created some controversy, but the real flap should have been Coldplay and the fact that they even wound up on the stage. It's clinically proven that listening to the Black Eyed Peas makes you dumber. Okay. maybe that's not true, but somebody should do a study on what happens to the human brain after repeat exposure to boom, boom, pow. Gotta get some new ideas. P's.The shameless dirty dancing cover, the lame Tron theme, it all sucks. The Happy Meal action figure tie-in is the only thing missing. Fergie is on auto-tune and still can't hit a note. Will I Am is wearing a metal hairpiece, and Taboo is self-editing the curses out of every third line of his lyrics. Apple.de.ap. Just happy to be here. I got a feeling. That this might be the time for a pee break. Yep, definitely. Just teleported in wearing a metal top hat, and Fergie is butchering Sweet Child O' Mine. Usher is wearing dark shades and hoping no one remembers he was here. Note to the NFL, it's never a good idea to go with an act that previously headlined the halftime show at the CFL's Grey Cup. Remember that killer halftime show featuring the Rockettes and Chubby Checker and 88 grand pianos in 1988? Or the captivating bebop Bamboozled at the Orange Bowl in 1989? No, you do not. Ditto for Carol Channing, Twice, or any one of those four annoyingly contrived up-with-people performances in the late 70s and early 80s. Before the King of Pop, the Super Bowl halftime show was an endless wasteland of college marching bands and maddening flag-spinning tributes, from Salutes to Hollywood, Twice, to Motown, to Duke Ellington, to the big band era, to the Caribbean. We also got the New Kids on the Block, 1991, not singing any of their biggest hits, and Gloria Estefan, 1992, providing the soundtrack for Olympic figure skaters Dorothy Hamill and Brian Boitano of What Would Brian Boitano Do?, fame because nothing says a Minnesota Super Bowl like the lead singer of the Miami Sound Machine. America wanted an apology for Janet Jackson's exposed nipple, but it should have gotten one for this 11-minute cheesifist. The most amazing thing about this halftime show? That it actually happened. Just read the YouTube summary. You can't make this stuff up. Patti LaBelle isn't even trying to pretend she's not lip-syncing. Well, that's gotta be the animatronic version of Tony Bennett. That, or the poor guy must have been drugged and dropped here, and he's praying someone flies him to the moon. Pronto. There's that hopeless 1,000-yard stare, and that awkward thumbs up while he's singing. This is so exciting. The only thing faker than the choreographed fighting and the theme park voiceovers is the plastic Lombardi trophy that Indy is trying to capture. Snakes. Why's it's always gotta be snakes? Another Disney-themed disaster at another ABC Super Bowl. This was more Olympic opening ceremony than halftime show, and nobody cares about the Olympics. There's no Stina and assless chaps getting dirty. No Phil banging out the drums on one of the greatest stadium rock jams of all time, In the Air Tonight. Just a bunch of awful songs that nobody has ever heard of, like Celebrate the Future Hand in Hand. But wait, it gets worse. Edward James Olmos as narrator. Dude needs to narrate himself out of this thing and take Tony Braxton's bad lip-syncing with him. The first thing you need to know about this mess is that Oscar Mayer Weiner produced it. You can almost imagine the pitch meeting. Hey, what if we got the wrong Belushi brother, John Goodman, Dan Aykroyd, James Brown and ZZ Top together in the middle of the Superdome? Genius. What do you wind up with? One giant Judarwurst. The fake Fox News report about Elwood Blues escaping from the Illinois State Penitentiary is probably the funniest thing here, if only for that awesome 90s news anchor hair. This is definitely the hardest workout that Goodman and Aykroyd have done in the past 20 years. Meanwhile, the godfather of soul looks like he's doing bad James Brown karaoke over a can track. He keeps missing his cues, then smiling. No, like most Oscar Mayer products, you're not gonna feel good after consuming this thing. Everybody loves to dance when Motown comes on at weddings, but in a Super Bowl, where John Elway finally came up the winner, nobody remembers this thing. The Temptations, at least, what's left of the original members, and Smokey Robinson are timeless, but somebody should have left Martha Reeves and the Vandellas back in Detroit. Like a heat wave? More like hot flashes.yo. You gotta love those boys two men, though, back in their 90s heyday doing some Motown Philly. But what? No end of the road? Come on, that would have been perfect. Talk about a letdown the year after Michael Jackson. Then again, nobody was topping that, and this show wasn't anything but some warm apple pie that went down easy on the most American of holidays, outside of Thanksgiving. Also, Travis Tritt wore this jacket, which, let's be honest, belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. E.T. Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. Savion Glover. Gloria Estefan. Now this is one big bad nostalgia trip. Big Bad Voodoo Daddy was so money after that Swingers flick came out, and who doesn't love everybody's favorite little cuddly extraterrestrial? And, man, can Savion tap? Why I had a second. Who let Stevie drive the car? Hey, anything goes in Miami at the Super Bowl. Just ask Eugene Robinson. Shania screaming "Let's go football fans" may have been the only time her mic was live. Man, I feel like a beer run. The guys in her backing band all look like they dressed up as the Lost Boys from Up. Also, check out the dude rocking the sweet keyboard guitar.Or is it a guitar? Killer, bruh. No doubt and Sting rescue this thing, somewhat, with Gwen Stefani trading lines with Sting on Message in a Bottle. But no police reunion? At least ABC got the message by 86ing the Disney-themed wreck from previous Super Bowl halftime fails. Nothing says XXX like Diana Ross taking off her clothes in front of hundreds of millions of people. Actually, you didn't see that, but her running through 4 wardrobe changes in about 12 minutes is the most amazing part of this halftime show. That, and getting followed around the stage by a bunch of kids on their way to the prom. Then the biggest diva at the Super Bowl, primetime, exits the stage as only she can, in a helicopter. Like a Ross.Hey, post-game traffic is always hell. There was a serious wardrobe malfunction, but nobody was running to YouTube to get another look at Pete Townshend's beer gut popping out while he did windmills on Bob O'Reilly. What was eye-catching was maybe the coolest stage setup in Super Bowl history, with the band churning through its hits on a platter that looked like a pulsing speaker or a spinning record. The Who reportedly had never watched an American football game, and some critics complained they mailed this thing in. Whatever. These guys perfected stadium rock in the 70s. Playing the hits for 12 minutes. Almost too easy, like Drew Brees picking apart the Colts secondary. Lost in the craziness of David Tyree's amazing helmet catch, the Giants' shocking win, and the heartbreak of the Pats blowing a perfect season was Tom Petty's underrated rock-solid set of hits. American Girl, Won't Back Down, Free Fallin', Running Down a Dream. This one has aged well, and that's because Petty clearly got what this thing's about. Just play the hits. Smile for the cameras. GT a spike in record sales. Have a story to tell later. This one we could have done for Super Bowl.1. Nick yells before the Stones break into satisfaction, prompting you to ask your mom why she's moving her neck like that. How it took 40 years for these guys to get on the Super Bowl stage is a wonder. They wrote the playbook for Stadium Rock. But expecting Mick Jagger to self-censor "You Make a Dead Man" on Start Me Up was a play called It backfired. The NFL cut the vocal on the tape delay anyway, as well as another reference to a male rooster on Rough Justice, both of which ruffled Mick's feathers. Talk about a cock-block. 12 minutes of Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band is akin to only getting to watch the first 12 minutes of The Godfather. But, hey, it's the boss, and he's here to bring the righteous and mighty power of the E Street Band into your home. "I want you step back from the guacamole dip," he shouts. "I want you to put the chicken fingers down and turn your television all the way up. Done and done, boss." 10th Avenue Freeze Out, Born to Run, Glory Days, what more do you want? Okay, maybe Born in the USA, the most misinterpreted song of all time, but that's probably too much to expect in one Super Bowl show. When your kids ask what America was like pre-9/11, just show them this video. Welcome to a world where MTV produces halftime shows and actually plays music. Boy bands and Pop-Tarts rule the charts, and Aerosmith is still making albums. The mashup of NSYNC, Nelly and Britney Spears doing Walk This Way with the Bad Boys from Boston has to be one of the most awesomely bad spectacles ever done on live TV. I'm sure JT and the guys in Aerosmith are still wondering how they ever got talked into this. Nice work, Ben Stiller. This is probably the most crowded Super Bowl stage ever too. Everybody's walking around looking for a plot of space. No, not here, nope, not here either, and the camera guys are totally confused about where to pan next. How do you clean up the Super Bowl halftime show after Nipplegate? Enter Paul McCartney. It would have been straight punk rock if Sir Paul launched into "Why Don't We Do It" in the road, but instead he played it straight, ripping through "Drive My Car" and "Live and Let Die," and thankfully avoiding "Freedom." Definitely the best moment in a terrible Super Bowl, and the closest thing to James Brown on the Super Bowl stage. The real James Brown lip-syncing with Jim Belushi and John Goodman doesn't count. There was a little controversy too, after it became obvious that the Red Hot Chili Peppers weren't playing those instruments live. As if they were the first band to not play behind a pre-recorded track at the Super Bowl. Even less of a shocker that Flea and Anthony Kiedis came out shirtless despite temperatures in the 40s. Blonde Ambition, Super Bowl edition.